When we talk about growth in accounting, everyone's mind immediately jumps to technology. But what if the biggest competitive advantage out there isn't about new software at all? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful, kind of silent strategy that the top firms are using to build something way more durable. Let's get into it.
So, what is this secret weapon? This silent advantage that the most forward thinking firms are already putting in place to just pull way ahead of the pack? I'll give you a hint. It's probably not what you're thinking. So, on one side, you've got what most firms are doing, right? They're chasing the next shiny piece of tech, getting all tangled up in these complex automation projects. But on the other side, well, that's what the top performers are doing. They are quietly building a smarter, simpler operating system for their entire firm. It's not about adding more tools. It's about fundamentally redesigning the engine of the business. Now, to really get why this system is such a game changer, we have to get real about the actual problems that come with growth. Because as a lot of you know firsthand, scaling up is, well, it's rarely a smooth ride. Does any of this sound familiar? You've got way too much routine work just bogging everyone down. Your senior people have practically zero time to actually think strategically. There's this constant pressure to hire in a really tough market. Salaries are going up, and then it takes forever to get new staff fully up to speed. These are the classic growing pains, and they are real. And here it is. This is the ultimate cost of all that pressure. The partners, the people who are supposed to be the strategic drivers of the firm, they get pulled right down into the weeds. They end up managing day-to-day fires instead of focusing on high-value client work and real sustainable business growth. And that is the bottleneck that holds so many great firms back. So how do you break out of that cycle? Well, it all starts with a fundamental shift in your thinking. It's about adopting a completely new strategic mindset for how you get work done. Okay, so the old way was totally reactive. It was a Band-Aid. It was, oh no, we're swamped. Let's just find some temporary help. The new mindset is proactive. It's strategic. It says, look, our core value is our strategy and our client relationships. We are going to protect that by keeping it in-house, and we're going to build a dedicated global team to scale the execution. See the difference? And this is what we call a global delivery model. And let's be clear, this is not just about outsourcing a few tasks. It is a complete redesign of your firm's entire workflow. You're combining the strategic leadership and client-facing genius of your local team with the power and efficiency of a dedicated global execution team. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does this actually look like day-to-day in practice? Let's walk through a couple of prime examples where this model just absolutely shines. First up, fund accounting. This is one of the most operationally intense services a firm can offer, which honestly makes it the perfect case study for this new way of working. So why is fund accounting such a perfect fit for this? Well, just think about what it demands. It is daily, process-heavy work where accuracy is everything and the timelines are totally non-negotiable. It requires meticulous documentation and some seriously deep technical skill. These are all things that just thrive inside a well-structured, dedicated global team. All right, now for an example that I think hits close to home for pretty much every firm out there, tax season. For so many, it's basically a period of controlled chaos. But here's the thing, it really doesn't have to be. I mean, just imagine a tax season where you can actually take on more clients without burning your team out. A season with less overtime, with consistent quality even when you're under pressure, and you're getting faster turnarounds for your clients. This is what a global delivery model brings to your tax practice. Instead of saying, sorry, we're full, you just scale your capacity. And the crucial point here is the strategic division of the work. Let's look at how this partnership really functions. Your onshore team, your local experts, they get to focus entirely on the highest value activities, building those client relationships, providing strategic advisory services, and doing those critical final reviews. Meanwhile, the offshore team becomes the firm's engine room. They handle all that essential, process-driven work, the data processing, the bookkeeping, the tax prep, the audit support. It's not about offloading work. It's about elevating what your local team gets to focus. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this sounds great for some massive national firm, but is this really going to work for a smaller one like mine? That is a critical question, so let's just tackle it head on. And the answer is a very clear no. In fact, a lot of the time, it's the small and mid-sized firms that benefit the most and the fastest. Why? Simple. This model lets them get the scale and the efficiency of a much larger firm, but without the massive upfront investment in hiring and infrastructure. It's a huge leap forward. All right, let's talk about the next big elephant in the room. What about the clients? Is this something we have to explain? Is it going to change our relationship with them? And the reality is, usually not. The whole model is designed so that your in-house team remains the single point of contact. All client communication, all relationship management, it stays exactly where it belongs, with you. Your offshore team is a seamless extension of your back office. They're not a client-facing unit. Okay, but that brings up another really practical question, right? Isn't managing a team in a different time zone just a huge headache? It certainly sounds complicated. Well, it doesn't have to be. Success with this model isn't about luck, it's about structure. It really comes down to three pillars: crystal clear processes, really strong documentation for every single task, and a dedicated manager who oversees the entire workflow. It's about building a system, not just winging it and hoping for the best. So, when you put all of this together, what you're really building is a durable, long-term competitive edge, one that your rivals just can't copy by working harder or longer hours. And this advantage really rests on four pillars. First, you get higher productivity across the entire firm. Second, you get much healthier profit margins because your cost structure is way more efficient. Third, and this one is huge, you get happier, less burnt out teams. And finally, you free up your partners to focus on what they do best: strategy and growth. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. The future of growth in this industry isn't going to come from grinding out longer and longer hours. It's going to come from outthinking your competition. It's about building a smarter operating system that lets you scale efficiently, serve your clients better, and create a much more sustainable firm. The real question is, are you building a system to work harder, or are you building a system to work smarter?